Have you ever met someone that just irked you to your core? It's like they were born to get under your skin, and no matter how hard you try, you just can't stand them. You just can't stand this person. Okay? I know you're thinking of someone. I know somebody that you have encountered at some point in your life popped into your head, okay? And I'm excited for today's episode because today we're talking about challenging people and dealing with those people who just, that we could just, I'm holding a fist up right now, in case you're not watching on video, that you could just pop them. You could just hit them. Dare I say. You wouldn't do that, but you know, maybe the thought has crossed your mind. Okay, so we are digging into a quote of the week, and for those of you who don't know, hello, my name is Victoria. Welcome back to Mindset Matters, the podcast where we choose to live with purpose and grow with intention. We're back with another quote of the week, and I love the quotes of the week because they're short, they're sweet, they're to the point, and I often don't put a lot of thought into them. So it's kind of just me rambling and feeling like we're on FaceTime together. So that's the goal for today. And I saw this quote. If you don't know, how do I pick the quote of the week? I have a document that has 365 daily quotes, and I use a random number generator to give me a number. This week we got number 49, and this quote, I really felt it, and I was like, I need to talk about this. This is good timing. So, number 49, challenging people are in your life for a reason. Love them. Challenging people are in your life for a reason. Love them. And it got me thinking. It got the wheels turning because, like I mentioned at the beginning, you know, how many of us have encountered people that just are so challenging, that seem so different from us, that seem to just not get it at all, and it frustrates us so much. And what I think is so interesting about this quote and this idea is, like, think about the amount of people we encounter in the world. Let's start here. We encounter so many people on a given day, even, and we encounter people in the workplace. We encounter people, you know, through social settings. Maybe we meet friends of friends. Some of us have roommates. You know, it might be your sister's boyfriend's brother. And the reality is we're going to encounter people who we don't get along with, who we don't agree with, and sometimes the people who seem to just get under our skin. And what I think is so interesting is thinking about this idea, challenging people are in your life for a reason. Love them. It's like you can be so kind of awakened and so calm and so mindful in your life, right? And these are a lot of the themes that we talk about on this channel, right? Becoming a better version of yourself, being mindful, being really resilient, and being grateful, right? Letting go of small inconveniences. We talk a lot about those types of things. So then you throw other people into the mix, and it's like, instead of getting angry at other people when they do something we don't like, what if we flipped it on ourselves and looked at our reactions? Like, why am I reacting that way? Why is this person irking me that hard? Why can't I just accept them as they are? And I think this is so interesting because you might think you're so awakened and calm, cool, collected, mindful, but as soon as someone comes in and pisses you off, it's like we forget all of that, and suddenly we're so okay with just being upset. And I just think it's so funny how we let other people get under our skin. And I know some people with really challenging relationships with family members. You know, think about siblings, like the classic sibling fight, getting under your sister's skin, or purposely knowing how to push their buttons, right? And we do it. And even the most calm people can get really agitated sometimes by other people. And I think that's a really interesting reflection of like our own journey of like where we're actually at in terms of being able to let things go. So that's kind of my long-winded first thought dump of that. But I did write down a couple little things when I first saw the quote. So, challenging people are in your life for a reason. Love them. Why do we need to love challenging people? Well, I think because dealing with challenging people does give us insight into who we are and how we can deal with things. Dealing with challenging people is a really good challenge to actually letting things go. It makes me think of a quote, which is, give yourself permission to be yourself and allow others to be different. Give yourself permission to be yourself and allow others to be different. We're always going to encounter people who are different from us. And some of those people are really not going to rub well with us. And I think it's about accepting them as they are and being like, you know what? You can be different than me. You can have your own values, opinions. We all have lenses through which we see the world, right? We have the lenses of our own experiences, the lenses of our culture, the lenses of our religion, perhaps, the lenses of, how we were brought up. And all of us have these different lenses that we look through the world. And I think accepting people who have completely different lenses than you says a lot about who you are. And I think not accepting people who are different than you also says a lot about where you are in your own journey of kind of being a mindful and accepting person. This makes me think of like really hateful people. Have you ever encountered someone that was just so hateful and angry, seemed to be full of resentment, and they said awful things? And it's like, how do you deal with that realistically? Because I can sit here and say, yeah, just let them be themselves. You don't have to react. But sometimes people say things that you completely don't agree with and you feel like you need to speak up or you need to say something. But it's like, how can we do it coming from a place of love? And how can we do it coming from a place of, this is how I want to express myself. My goal isn't necessarily to completely change that person, but maybe them hearing my perspectives will help open up something within them. Does that make sense? I feel like, because we can't change other people, right? People will change when they want to change. And I think when dealing with challenging people, right, they're there for a reason. It's to say, they're not for us to change. We can share our perspectives if we think it's worth it, but sometimes it's not even worth saying something. Like sometimes you just need to be able to walk away and separate yourself from people who are challenging in a way that says, you know what? I can have love for you and I can just separate myself and send you love, wish you well, and know that you're not my type of person. How do we actually realistically deal with someone that just seems to irk us to the core, especially when it's someone you quote unquote can't escape from, right? I'm thinking about someone you work with or a roommate or someone that you have to encounter in some way or another. I would say the first thing is to really take inventory of your reactions. So when this person does something that bothers you, whether it's the way they speak about something, whether it's certain mannerisms or actions, like when you notice yourself getting agitated, take inventory and really dig in. Okay, why is this bothering me this much? Like, what is it about this person or about what they're doing that's really, really frustrating me? Because Another thing I've thought about is when we are truly frustrated or negative towards somebody, it's often our own projections of either a past version of ourselves or something we used to struggle with that we see in someone else. To give an example, something I used to really struggle with and still have to be mindful about is in conversation, I used to cut people off. As soon as I had a thought, it was like, oh, my turn to speak. I need to express how I feel or add to the conversation or finish the sentence. And as a result, I wasn't letting the person speaking finish their thought. And now it's something I'm almost hyper aware of in other people because I used to struggle with this thing. And so when I encounter someone who constantly cuts other people off, it almost bothers me because I think partly because it isn't a very nice thing to do, but also I think what bothers me about it is the fact that I used to struggle with it, right? So often we have these weird complexes of like things that trigger us in a way because it's something that we actually have some sort of challenge with, or it's like a personal thing. So really dig into it. I think it's interesting to reflect on like, okay, why is this bothering me? Because I should be able to just let this go. Okay, I think the next thing would be to kill with kindness. When someone seems to be purposely speaking in a way that is frustrating, and I know it's not always purposeful, some people are just not our people, but I think the best thing you can do is kill them with kindness, just be kind, send love out into the world, and not feel like you need to make it a bigger thing, right? So many things we add importance to. So if you can actually drop importance of that person or that problem, it will kind of dissipate a little bit. The other one I kind of alluded to already, but is accept people as they are. You know, give yourself permission to be yourself and allow others to be different. If you are not my type of person, then I don't have to be around you, or I don't have to engage with you more than necessary. And if it's someone you work with, or if it's a roommate, or someone you can't avoid, or you can't completely eliminate from your life, you can minimize the interactions. You can do things like take a deep breath before you have to speak to that person. You can try your best to be direct in communication about how you feel. If there's something that comes up over and over again and you need to express something for your own self, then it's okay to do that. And whether they take that in and want to make an adjustment or not is not up to you. But it's okay to express how you feel if there's something that's bothering you. And it also makes me think of the Let Them theory by Mel Robbins, which is really just let people do what they gotta do. Let them be themselves. If it bothers you in some way, dig into it, because oftentimes, again, things that bother us, it says more about us. I think our reactions to other people say more about us and how we feel about certain things than it actually says about the person itself. So try to be mindful of how you react. And again, think about that, reflect on it a little bit. But challenging people are in your life for a reason. Love them. Love the challenging people. Learn from them. Learn from your reactions. You know that things aren't always going to be easy. And, you know, learn how to communicate better. I think challenging people really push us to figure out how to communicate, because the people who get us in our life, they're easy to communicate with. But it's the people who don't seem to be on the same wavelength that make it really hard to communicate how we feel. And I think that's an important skill to continue to develop. Okay, so have a beautiful week. I will chat with you very soon. Don't forget to subscribe. And that's all for me. Bye.